Good morning, everyone. Welcome to 2021. And welcome to the January Power Partnership Breakfast. We're so glad to have you joining us once again for this virtual event. We are broadcasting live from the Commerce Center, and we're here in the Paducah Bank Community Room. I do want to thank our sponsor, the Paducah McCracken County Joint Sewer Agency, for staying with us and continuing to be a sponsor, even though things have changed for us with the virtual event. But we know we're reaching a lot of people through different methods. So we're live on WPSD's Facebook page, our own Facebook page, live streaming on WPSD, and of course with you joining all of you through Zoom. So thank you again for being with us, and thank you to the Joint Sewer Agency. We're going to be hearing from John Hodges in just a few moments to a little bit more information about them. This is our annual State of the City and County. And it really doesn't matter if the mayor or the judge has been in the office for a couple of years or for a couple of days. We appreciate the fact that they're always willing to be with us. So today we welcome the newly elected Mayor George Bray and McCracken County Judge Executive Craig Clymer, who's beginning his third year as the county judge. So we are so appreciative of them taking the time to be with us to deliver their comments. Just for a few chamber announcements, I want to welcome our new members that have joined us recently: Acoustic Design Inc., Beard and Pew CPAs, Global Maintenance, MedMetrics, and Shane Lee Boutique. We've also had a couple of ribbon cuttings that we just want to share, that some celebrations. Notes Barbecue at 225 Broadway and Forever Pampered at 108 Broadway. We've held grand openings and ribbon cuttings for them. And also Elite Pain and Spine, located near Strawberry Hills and Village Square Drive. We celebrated a ribbon cutting with them and their employees just recently. We're very proud of our Paducah Young Professionals program. They have done a lot of work in the community and have stayed engaged during this time where we've had to take most of our events virtual, but we have had a couple where they were able to be together. So we had a cornhole tournament, and that from the proceeds from that, they gave a $1,000 donation to the Moses Basket, and that event was sponsored by the Orthopedic Institute. They also helped out at Noble Park with the Christmas in the Parks light display, collecting canned goods there. So next up for them on Tuesday, January 26th at noon, will be a virtual 360-degree goal-setting workshop led by Terry Lundberg of Lundberg Medical Imaging. So this event is open to all PYP members and potential members as well. You can register for that, as well as any chamber event, at paducahchamber.org. So we're in the process of changing a lot of things with the chamber as far as our leadership and as far with our board. And then we also have had a staff change. So we want to wish Kelly Davis, who is our Member Services Director for 5 years, the very best, as she has joined the Paducah McCracken County United Way as our Chief Operations Officer. But we did recruit her back here today to help us with this virtual event. So we're glad to have her here with us today, and we certainly wish her well. Now I want to just briefly address the fact that typically I would be talking all about our annual meeting and our business celebration and our annual awards, but we know that we can't convene 800 people together like we usually do the last Friday night in January at this time. So we have made the decision to postpone that. We're looking at some dates in mid to late May or early June, and we're working with the Expo Center so we would have a larger space to have that event. So please stay tuned, it's coming. And we'll do a lot of their traditional things that we would do then, same time, same the annual awards, all of those will be then, and we'll keep you posted as we move forward. We're in the process, again, of changing our board leadership, which we do every January. Traditionally, that happens at the annual meeting, but since we're not having that, we're going to go ahead and make those changes. Our current board chair has been with us for this past year, Chad Byer, as our 2020 board chair, and we're going to be saying goodbye to him, kind of, in the role as board chair, as we welcome our new chair for 2021, Dr. Anton Reese, the president of West Kentucky Community and Technical College. Leadership is critical during times of uncertainty. 2020 will continue to be a year that we will remember for lots of changes and challenges. But it is continuing some into 2021, but we have adjusted, and we know all of you have too. So we want to thank our 2020 board members. I personally want to thank them for their advice and their patience and their caring and concern and commitment during this past year. We appreciate it very much. The 2020 outgoing board chair, Chad Byer, has done a phenomenal job this year. As a small business owner himself, He was steadfast regarding the Chamber's mission to support businesses in our community, especially our small businesses, and helping guide the Chamber throughout the beginning of this pandemic and throughout the majority of it. Chad's faith, which is a strong part of him and who he is, was such a comfort, and to me during this time and to all of us. He was a true sounding board when we needed the encouragement to keep moving forward. He always came through. So thanks to the continued support of him, our board members that are rolling off, and all of you as our members, our chamber remains strong. And we are counting on you to keep us strong longer so we can keep on doing the things that we do. Your membership is key to our collective success. It's what keeps us moving forward and will ultimately help us get through this time together. So we're excited to work with each of you during this new year. We're very grateful for the time we've had with Chad as our chair. He's given us this year. He spent time away from his own personal business, his family, and then some of the leadership roles that he's had in his church to be with the chamber and provide this leadership. So thank you, Chad. This is not the official goodbye. We're going to officially do that at our annual meeting later on this year, but we are going to make the transition kind of somewhat today. So please welcome our 2020 board chair and owner and president of I-5 Design, Chad Byer.
Thank you, Sandra. Good morning, and thank you for joining us today for our first breakfast of 2021, and greetings from the board. This year, I've talked and I've learned a lot about advocacy. I've highlighted its importance and why I depend on the Chamber for our advocacy efforts. I've highlighted why it's important to my business and why we're fighting for what we've been fighting for on behalf of our community. I've served on this board for about 5 years. And one thing that I've recognized is that sometimes, quite often, we don't take credit when maybe we should. People frequently ask, what does the Chamber do for me or my business? And while I think we're humble and we tend to share that success with our partners, it does take an organization coordinating these efforts. Simply put, the Chamber is doing things that most people think just happen. Can I tell you something? Most things of value don't just happen. There's a catalyst and there's hard work behind them. I want to share 2 recent examples that have directly resulted in more money coming to our community, which in return brings more money to our local businesses directly or indirectly. Last year, we asked the Federal Aviation Administration for $20 million to help us build a new airport terminal at Barkley Regional. We received that funding and plans are underway. But we also knew we would need additional funding. So we went to work to ask the state of Kentucky for assistance from the state's aviation fund. We developed our why we should receive funds. We scheduled meetings, we talked it up, and we did every step possible to ensure that that funding would happen. In February of this year, the governor and our state legislators held a press conference at the airport to announce that we would receive $5 million from the aviation fund to help us with this project, a nice payment on an important project for our community, this region, and this state, a great beginning for 2020. In February, we also had a small group trip to DC to discuss our funding for the Paducah Department of Energy site. We had been the recipient of a $40 million plus up for this year. That's $40 million on top of our current funding. And we wanted to update our members of Congress and DOE on the work that had been completed and provide them with reasons to continue that funding. Of course, 2 weeks after that trip, COVID hit and everything changed. However, just this past month, it was confirmed that our local DOE site would get the $40 million plus up again, plus additionally $2 more million on top of that. So thank you to our leaders in DC for this funding for our area, and especially to Leader McConnell, who announced it in late December. Our advocacy efforts have never let up, even during COVID. We continue to help our small businesses with identifying funding sources, staying informed on the latest news impacting them, and how to get the resources they needed, and just listening when they needed to be heard. I'm proud of these successes that I've highlighted this morning. I've said repeatedly, I'm especially proud of how we pivoted and how we served our members in our community during COVID. Here's the part I think is important. I want to share very clearly why these things happen. They happen because there's a catalyst. And that catalyst is very simply people who care about the success of Paducah and McCracken County. They care about the success of your business, and they want living and working in this community to be a benefit and a blessing to you. Your chamber staff, your chamber, the staff, the board, and the committees are full of these people. They're full of wise people who care and are committed to being a catalyst for good in our community. Most of the time, they're too busy affecting change and serving to look up or to yell from the rooftops all that we've accomplished. I'm proud to have served with these people. I'm humbled by their wisdom, their giftedness, their commitment, and their servant leadership. These people in this organization, your chamber, will continue to do what we do best. We will serve, we will advocate, and we will not faint in our commitment to being a catalyst for good in our community. If this has ever been proven true, it's been through the uncertainty of this past year. I now get to recognize our outgoing board. I want to thank them for their commitment, their wisdom, and their service. They are Mayor Brandy Harless, Jim Dudley, Mike Lawson, Craig Rice, Tom Clayton, and past chair Daniel Jones. I want to close by giving thanks to the board and the membership. I want to thank you for your confidence in me and the opportunity to serve. To Sandra and the staff, I thank you for all that you do. I truly don't know how you accomplish all that you do. It has truly been an honor. So my last official duty is to pass the gavel to one of these people that I just mentioned. I found this man to be wise. He's caring, he's committed to this community, and I'm confident in his ability to lead the chamber through this next phase as our economy recovers. I would like to introduce your new chair of the chamber board for 2021, Dr. Anton Reese, president of West Kentucky Community and Technical College. Dr. Reese, I've been told we're going to do this again formally at the annual meeting celebration later this year, but until then, Dr. Reese, here's the gavel, sir. On behalf of the entire board of directors, staff, and membership, congratulations.
Thank you, Jeff.
I'll leave that here for you.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir.
Appreciate that, Rick.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Good morning. And Chad, as you said, wise and caring. Could I get that in writing? Just so this year goes. Good morning, everyone. I bring greetings in 2021. Certainly, I have this incredible privilege and opportunity to serve as the chair of our Greater Paducah Chamber. I want to do a couple of things. One, I want to recognize the new board members. Second, I do want to share some comments as we transition from 2020 into 2021. And we're certainly in my role working collaboratively with this great team, things that we can accomplish in 2021. So first, the new board members I want to welcome, they are Tammy Courtney with Swift and Staley, Katie Englert with Compass Counseling, Chris Hill with Entreneering, Ashley Johnson with US Bank, and Mike Youngman with Mercy Health Lords. I want to welcome them all as part of this incredible team and all the great work because we are only as good as our board members and certainly our support from all of you in the community. So second, Chad, I want to thank you as certainly serving as the chair-elect. I get the opportunity to sit and watch as you navigate and facilitate. And certainly, as mentioned, 2020, to say the least, is a unique and historic year. So definitely want to thank you for your service and following then certainly in the groundwork that you've laid. I recall when I returned to Paducah in 2016, had this incredible opportunity to come back to this community that certainly my family and I hold so dearly. That if there was such a thing as unfinished business, I always felt that in Paducah and for our region, that there is still some key things that we can accomplish, really taking our entire region, certainly nationally, for sure. Over the years, I've been intrigued. I hear terms like Paducah punches above its weight when we do the chamber trips to both Frankfurt and Washington, D.C., and that's true. We know about being a UNESCO city and the uniqueness that we have with the arts, and that's true. We know that we have a 5-star chamber, yes. And by the way, there are over 4,000 chambers across this country. You just don't land and get 5-star designation. So kudos to Sandra and the team. And while we're talking 5, as you know, you may have heard, we are a 5-time top 10 college in the nation at West Kentucky Community Technical College. So I want to be sure to bring greetings on behalf of the family. And we will see what happens with Aspen, May 18th, 1 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, in case you're wondering, when that announcement will be made as to the top colleges in this country. I use that by way as an intro that all those things are true. What is also true, though, is in addition to being in a rural area of the state geographically and being a small city or town, as people refer to it, words are very powerful. I want to invoke the spirit of Henry Thoreau, who says sometimes we have to look beyond what we can see. Our size stands for itself. The real nature of what we are and who we are does, and the elements that makes us clearly unique. Part of what I hope to bring in this role with the chamber is to push us all to being 5-star at that national level. We are all coming out of every community, regardless of size across this country, is going to be competing, coming out, getting jobs to economic development, building and boosting small businesses, which is a core mission of the chamber, and certainly getting individuals trained and ready to work. Certainly as a college, we play a unique role with that intersection. And so I believe the beauty of being able to serve in this role puts me and this incredible team of directors to take us up, if you will, to that 5th level. You know, in moments you'll be hearing from the mayor, our new Mayor Bray, and our Judge Clymer, and I'm sure that they'll be sharing some incredible achievements and visions for the county and city. And obviously we want to build on all of those. 2021 is the transformative year of growth. I submit to you in the role as chair of the Paducah Chamber. Last and certainly not least, there is the publication, we call it the Chamber Connection. And I really wanted us hover a little bit for a moment on connection. The importance now that as we navigate to and through COVID, that we must have all elements in the community, we need all hands on deck, connected, trained, skilled, ready to go to seize the opportunities and to aid us in the transition as 2021 brings us back to more normalcy. I'm excited, I'm enthused, and I look forward to working with an incredible group here at the Paducah Chamber. And to my dear friend, Sandra, obviously looking forward to working with you very closely. You can't have too many as different as Sandra and I are in terms of style. She's very scripted, I'm not. I like milk, she does not. She drinks Diet Coke, I drink Diet Dew. But within our differences, we will also connect and take this thing up to another level. Thank you all so much and have a great morning. Wait, I need to sponsor her. See, there's Sandra off camera right there. All right, now it's my pleasure to introduce our January Power and Partnership sponsor, the Paducah McCracken County Joint Sewer Agency. The JSA was formed in 1999 to take over the operation and maintenance of Paducah and McCracken counties' combined sanitary and storm sewer system, and is a nonprofit regional utility service. John Hodges serves as the JSA Executive Director and will share more information about the work of the JSA. Please join me in thanking the Joint Sewer Agency for their sponsorship. John, I turn it over to you.
Thank you, Dr. Reese, keeping me on my toes there, introducing me a little bit early, making sure that I'm on my toes and ready to go. And of course, we are always very thankful for Sandra and Dr. Reese and Chad for the work they do here with the Chamber of Commerce. It's a vital, important part of our community. Good morning. On behalf of the Board of Directors for the JSA, with Justin Hancock as our board chair and Debbie Stone as our vice chair, JSA is pleased to be the sponsor for this month's breakfast. As Dr. Reese mentioned, JSA is the regional sanitary sewer provider for McCracken County in the city of Paducah. Obviously, while many things are and have been different or disrupted over this past year, one thing that has remained on task is JSA's commitment to our environmental mandates and to our ratepayers. We have continued our work, and our work is varied. Not much from a sanitary sewer standpoint is easy, as our level of control related to what and how much is conveyed by our piping is limited compared to other agencies. This year, we continued with capacity, extension, and rehabilitation projects to ensure the agency's infrastructure continues to be upgraded for the future of our community. Our work is expensive. Work in this industry can be simple or complex, but even our simplest job can carry significant cost. In addition, some of our work, especially our most costly work, is simply not elective, as the sanitary sewer industry in this country is heavily regulated and saddled with unfunded mandates and timelines. As such, we as an agency are committed to cost control. That starts with every aspect of our operating cost, whether the item be large or small, and feeds into our capital program, where we strive to specify projects that are durable, meet our objective, but are not gold standard. We want quality projects that are cost competitive. You see, as time goes by, our rates are going to change. That is an unfortunate fact. But our board is determined to stay on the left side of this chart in order to provide competitive and affordable rates for our community. Now, of course, we cannot do this without the support of our local officials, and we always use this opportunity to thank them and ask them for their continued support of our mission. So we usually rotate the speaking order, and this year it's going to be the judge executive's turn to first, and then followed by the mayor. Now, Sandra is a scripted person. She has scripted my introduction. So I have to keep my reading glasses on for this, but I'm going to introduce the judge, and then I'm going to introduce the mayor, and then the judge is going to come up and speak. Judge Executive Craig Clymer has just completed his second year as McCracken County Judge Executive. Judge Clymer previously served as McCracken Circuit Judge from 1998 to 2017, when he retired and joined the law firm of Bowles, Stouffer, and Graves. He also served as McCracken District Judge from 1993 to 1997, and as a staff attorney for the United States District Court from 1988 to 1993. Before graduating from Chase College of Law in 1988, he served 9 years with the Paducah Police Department. He received his bachelor's in law enforcement from Eastern Kentucky University. Mayor George Bray was elected Paducah's 40th mayor in November and took office officially Friday, January 1st. He is the immediate past chairman of the Board of Directors of Barkley Regional Airport Authority, chairman of the Barkley Regional Airport Terminal Planning Committee. He serves on the Paducah Area Community Reuse Organization and served the Oscar Cross Boys and Girls Club in a variety of leadership roles for over 20 years. In his role as chairman of Barkley Regional Airport and the Terminal Planning Committee, he has been instrumental in the planning and fundraising to build a new airport terminal, the first for Paducah in 67 years. So please join me in thanking and welcoming Judge Clymer and Mayor Bray. And Judge, it's your turn.
Thank you, John. Let me just say that I wrote my remarks yesterday about midday, and before all the fiasco went forward in D.C. And so I felt compelled just to address that just very briefly. And so in comparing the county with the federal government, and we asked what's the state of the county, my first thought is it's a darn sight better than the state of the country, particularly in the leadership positions. The federal government has frankly set a very low bar in judging performance. The leadership of the county, myself, Jeff Parker, Eddie Jones, Bill Bartleman, each of us has the best interest of our county as our goal, and we put the interests of our county ahead of our self-interests. And there is no role for political partisan politics in our decision-making. None of those attributes are clearly present, I think, at the top of the federal leadership. And so I fear that partisan politics often dictates action in DC. We can at least enjoy and appreciate that that is not the situation in our county nor in our city. People are selected here to run based on their character, their best interests, their good motivations. And so that gives us a good foundation to build on. When you have people that you can trust are putting the interests of yourselves, the county and the city, ahead of any other interests. So my take on the DC mess is that you and I and none of us have really any meaningful impact on what happens in federal politics, what happens out in the nation of near 330 million people. But we live right here in McCracken County, 65,000 people. We can have influence and impact on what happens on the future of our county and our city. So I think we focus on our own community. Let's put our efforts, our energy into our own house, where we live, where we work, where we raise our children, where we are physically present 98% of our lives. We'll still and always be proud Americans, and we'll hope and pray for the blessings on our country. But we can make a difference and even a meaningful impact on our city and our county. So why would we not focus on that? And I would encourage people in that vein to get involved, to find a niche, do something for your community if you're not already. We'll find a place to plug you in if you're so willing. Despite the virus, it's been a very productive year for McCracken County, and the credit goes to our team. The county commissioners, Jeff Parker, Eddie Jones, Bill Bartleman, who I call Jeb, Jeff, Eddie, and Bill. I can unequivocally state that C-Jeb, Craig, Jeff, Eddie, and Bill, have the best interests of the county at heart, and that we are a very restless body. If I can't think of something to do to better the county, certainly one of them can. One of the best things that we did was build an outstanding team. We hired Steve Doolittle as deputy judge executive. He's an incredibly talented, knowledgeable, and experienced professional. And he's worked at both the city of Paducah and McCracken County in high administrative positions for many, many years and retired from there. He knows the answers or how to find them. Steve Irvin, same story. He's our projects administrator, been in city government and local government for many, many years and retired from the city. Like Steve, he's worked in various projects, knows the people, knows how to get things done. My executive assistant, Vicki Potts, she was with me for almost 17 years, or most of the 17 years that I was circuit judge in McCracken County. She's smart, professionally, highly trained. Vicki knows what I need before I know that I need it. Pam Thompson, our treasurer, I inherited her from the prior administration. She could not be any better at her job. Gina and Heather and Neil in finance, all these folks top notch, and we're all pulling together to do everything that we can for our community. We saw a need for a personnel manager and hired Michelle Fellows. She's developed a model personnel program, uniform across all departments, and has greatly increased our professionalism and efficiency. We have Randy Williams and his assistant Jerry Hawes at the road department, two highly qualified professionals doing a great job for us. John Colson, Ronnie Gilbert, Danny Walker out at the inspection department, same thing, all a part of a strong team. And then we have, of course, our talented constitutional officers and Sheriff Carter, Jailer Knight, Clerk Julie Griggs, Coroner Melton, and Sam Clymer is the county attorney. They're all pulling hard and doing great work for you and our community. And I can say it's certainly a special blessing to have my son as the county's attorney as I go through this position. And those are only the most recognized players. They're the ones that are sort of out front. We also have the dedicated workers, the deputies in the jail, in the sheriff's office, in the clerk's office, and those who go about day to day carrying out the many functions that makes this county great as it is. We also need to recognize our volunteers in the EMS and firefighting. Almost all of these folks in EMS and in the fire department for the county are volunteers. And so they're, through their selfless dedications, are providing a great service and at essentially no cost to our county. So what's the state of the county? It's strong and it's getting stronger. Jeb and I discussed our philosophy when we took office 2 years ago. There's the option. Do we want to maintain the status quo? Do we want to sit back, pay the bills, take care of business that comes along? Or do we charge hard out of the gate and be proactive, be creative, maybe even innovative? And it was a short conversation. We all wanted to do everything that we could. We put our heads together, and as I say, if one can't think of something, the other can. And so we decided to go for it. Let's see what we can accomplish and what we can do for the betterment of McCracken County. And of course, there were priorities. The highest was public safety. The number one responsibility of government is to protect the citizens. And we recognized immediately that our sheriff's department was underpaid, particularly in relationship to the pay for the city police. And so what we were looking at was a threat that our sheriff's office deputies would be lured away from us and to most logically the city police a block away. And so we had to focus on increasing pay for our sheriff's department. And we've done that this year. We've made some adjustments to the sheriff's pay. The jail is the same way. We're paying people starting salary of $12 to come into the jail and work when they could go to most any retail place and make more money than that. And they wouldn't likely get feces thrown on them and be cursed from minute to minute. We had to get some revenue increase. The county had not placed any tax on the citizens in 40 years. So we were working on running a county in 2020 on dollars from 40 years ago, the value of that money 40 years ago. And of course, that can't be done. And so we summoned our political courage and we did what we had to do. We passed two modest taxes on insurance and on property. The insurance tax is projected to produce some $3.2 million. Property tax about $675,000. Slide one, please. There, it came right up, didn't it? So I'm gonna have to tell my story on Sandra knows my lack of ability and technology. It's really my only weakness. And so I sent her a message yesterday about 2 o'clock, said, Sandra, I've got a PowerPoint. Do you want me to send it over to you now. And she says, no, just bring it on a thumb drive in the morning at 7:15. I thought, my gosh, we got some people that can really know what they're doing. They're going to get it 15 minutes before we start and get that done. And I get here this morning, I said, here's my thumb drive. And she says, you really did have a thumb drive? You really do have PowerPoint? I said, yeah, I told you I did. And so she asked me, what was it, 4 times, I think. You're kidding. You don't really have a PowerPoint. And so we'll see how it goes. But if I have that slide 1. So McCracken County's property tax remains extremely low. You can see on the $100 bill there, the percent of the county gets from property taxes is less than 10%. Vast majority goes to the schools. Then there's the fire district next. The library gets just a wee bit less than what the entire county gets. And so that gives you some perspective on when you're paying your taxes, what amount goes to the county. With the revenue adjustments and $2.2 million in COVID relief funds, we have now moved out of deficit spending, and we're able to adjust the low sheriff, jail, and clerk's fees that we're desperately needing some adjustment. And we could. Sports Tourism Commission, we created that commission from the hotel motel tax, put a small fee on the rooms that people come through and stay in our community and they pay their hotel motel bill. We get a little tiny slice of that. The little slices add up to make a pretty good pie. And so we hired, they hired a design and consultant for the sports project, selected a site for outdoor sports, completed the initial draft of a master plan for the park. They've hired a firm to build a website and logo. They've hired a public relations firm to help with the messaging and getting the story out. Invested some $560,000 in the convention center, and we now have installed in the convention center some first-rate wooden courts for basketball and volleyball. That's taken off like a rocket. Even with the COVID, we're having some tournament play, and with hopefully the demise of the virus, we'll see that coming on strong in the very near future. Overall, we collected some $818,000 in revenue from that project. Let's see, on slide 2. Bluegrass Downs, we were fortunate to receive from a company called Vici, associated with Harrah's over in Metropolis and other places, for the donation, free, Bluegrass Downs property, nearly 60 acres for development of baseball and softball and soccer. The value of the land exceeds $1.4 million. There from the graphic, you can see the outlay. It's just a tremendous acquisition. It didn't require much except to go after it. I stayed after them for about a year. Never got any real resistance. This company saw that it would be to their benefit and certainly to our county. It lies right between Noble Park and Stewart Nelson Park. Those of you who walk the Greenway, you see over to the south of the Greenway Trail, the Bluegrass Downs, as you walk through there. We're going to do some great things with that. It's going to be an absolute jewel in the county and the city's crown. It'll be amazing, I think, what we can do with that. The grandstand is terrific. We're going to start this winter cleaning out that, getting it prepared. And then it will probably be 1.5 years, maybe 2 years before we have that built out. But we're not going to halfway do it. We're going to make it a tremendous project. Let's see, the next slide, please. So we've got the Bob Leeper Bridge was completed in partnership with the city. The project connects nearly 5 miles of the Greenway Trail with the 1.4-mile trail loop on the county grounds. It also connects the Mountain Skills Park on the county side. There's an air park there. There's a bicycle pump track. It was a formerly desolate and disconnected area. The team of Steve Irvin and our Parks Maintenance Director, Tony Macing, and his guys, along with Randy Williams and Jerry Hawes at the Road Department, graded the path, put down rock, bush hog, cleared brush, added signage, and we've even planted some flowers that are come up in the spring. So that'd be nice. And then Carson Park. In 2020, saw the front of Carson Park visually improved by a horse fence. We painted it black. Think that looks nice. Got rid of the old chain link fence. Looked a little more like a prison than a park. So Steve Irvin found some unused, unclaimed money from the PAD for the project. We have the Touchdowns and Tunes concert coming in this Labor Day, and so that'll be a nice improvement. We made some changes to the board, and partnerships with the convention center are being developed. We have an asset there that we're going to use more, and it's a county property located right in the center almost of the city. The sale of Genova Plastics was paying rent in a city county-owned building. That business collapsed and fell into receivership. The bottom line is we found another company in the same business. They bought the building. We sold the property for the appraised value. We've paid off the debt, and that's a growing, thriving operation now. Economic development. While there's really not been any major announcements yet, I just feel like we've got something on the horizon. GPED's working hard on that. We have built through negotiating, working with the city of Paducah, revenue sharing agreements, and we've created a new industrial development authority, which transfers debt and land holdings from GPED, Greater Paducah Economic Development, to this IDA, and using some TBA in lieu of tax monies called RDAP funds. We are going to be paying in jointly between the city and the county about $320,000 a year to the IDA for the next 10 years for purchase of other properties and maintenance of the current ones. We purchased 7 acres of land out on Bobo Road. It's in the middle of the triple rail site that cleaned that up, made it more attractive for future development. We approved the use of some of this RDAP funds for signage and clearing at the I-24 Logistics Park. Kaleo Technology moved into the former downtown home of Teletech right here across the way. And is significantly expanding their operation. There's a memorandum of understanding with Sprocket. We awarded them as so far $100,000 to engage Codify to bring programming for tech entrepreneurs inside the Coke plant. Sprockets received another $900,000 from the city and $200,000 from the library, and it puts them on goal for build out in the Coke plant. That's going to be an exciting project to be watching. And I mentioned our library at McCracken County Library. It's outstanding. It's sitting right here in the heart of our city as well. Susan Byer over there is running an outstanding program. We've done well with the grants. Steve Irvin found $400,000 for Lotus. I'm getting the circle up thing. I do want to touch quickly on the water tower project, slide 5. We're going to put that design on the water tower across from the Confederate flags that are flying out on I-24. That I see as an economic development, as well as just a message for this community of unity and lack of racial bias here. We're doing a lot of things. We're bringing health care costs down. We've established human resources position, produced a timely audit. a message, a program for enhancing our professionalism and efficiency. We put new jail locks in the jail. Thought it'd be a good idea to have locks on the jail door. The old ones were not working well. The airport, focusing on building the terminal. George's been spearheading that. So in conclusion, just let me say, this McCracken Fiscal Court has proved that we'll do what's best for the county. We'll do it regardless of our personal interests. We're not content to sit back and pay the bills. We've proved that you can trust us in the administration, I believe. But for the virus, we'd have accomplished even more great things. We're not going to sit back. You'll be amazed at what you'll see in the next year and 2 years in this administration. Thank you. And so, George, you follow me up. Our new mayor, so looking so forward to working with Mayor Bright.
Thank you, Judge. The feeling's mutual. I look forward to working with you as well. We've already started working together on some things and really look forward to the future. I didn't bring a PowerPoint and I didn't have sort of a prepared speech. And when I told my wife that, she was a little horrified that I was going to get up here and speak from notes, but I'm going to give it my best shot. Thank you, Sandra, for the opportunity and the chamber, and congratulations, Chad and Dr. Reese. I look forward to working with you for the next 4 years. Talk a little bit about my journey. My perspective is different from Judge Clymer's because his is a couple of years and mine is 4 days. So that's very different. 2020 was a challenging year for all of us, but especially for me because my journey was for 2020 as a political candidate. And during that year, I spent 13 months campaigning, but 8 of that was during the pandemic. And that was certainly challenging. And in the midst of the pandemic, we had the Breonna Taylor, George Floyd situation, which sensitized me personally to a lot of issues here in the community and around the country. The one thing I could say is that I really got to know this community very well during my journey. And I think that's going to help me a lot in the future. What did COVID do? It had devastation to a lot of businesses. I'm going to talk a little bit about that. Certainly it was challenging for the business community, but it also drove, a lot more homelessness and a lot more food insecurity and a lot more issues in our community that I became very sensitized to. Just as an observation, the needs in our community at times do seem overwhelming. We've got people like Community Kitchen, Project Pomona, Family Kitchen of Western Kentucky, which is organized by Lone Oak Methodist Church. These are folks and organizations that are helping feed the homeless and people that do have these food insecurities, and that is something that must be addressed on an ongoing basis. But COVID, what was the real impact of COVID for the city? That's what everybody wants to know, and what I think it led to was really tax revenue uncertainty. In the general fund, the city has a number of funds, but the general fund is our primary fund for revenues for the city. And COVID hit as we were in the process of preparing our budget for the current fiscal year. And during that, and the budget was prepared, and we planned to have $3 million less in revenues in the current fiscal year than in the previous fiscal year. At the same time, we also planned to reduce our expenditures for the city $1 million. So the difference between 3 and 1 is that means there's a $2 million deficit. And so we had to draw from other funds in the city, reserve funds, in order to balance the budget. And along with that came a hiring freeze. And so we have not hired anyone since we had the hiring freeze. And today we have 18, 19, 20 open positions in the city that we have not hired. And our department heads and our departments are shoring up and working shorthanded to try to help balance the budget and make a difference. From our business community standpoint, I mean, from the business perspective, from the city's perspective as it relates to the business community, we have a business development specialist who works very closely with GPED and the chamber, and that person has made many calls in the last year on businesses to try to stay connected and to understand what's going on. I am very interested as a business person. I'm very interested in economic development and our perspective, the city's ability to influence and help businesses. And so I'll be watching that very closely. And I would just say one thing. It's very important to me that business development specialist, the city, the way that she is directed and provided guidance is synced very well with the chamber and GPED. But all of our businesses really had to adapt. I spent my entire career in business, and business is all about adaptation. And certainly in 2020, all businesses had to adapt. And when something like that happens, there's always going to be winners and there's always going to be losers. We know of at least 10 businesses in Paducah that did shutter in 2020. The city did everything that we could. We responded with a small business relief fund. We deferred business licenses. I think we did the best we could to do our part to make as much of an impact as we could. We worked with downtown businesses in many different ways. We closed Market House Square to automobiles to help the restaurants. So we will continue to work with businesses as we come out of the pandemic. But we have had some wins. We had 14 new businesses actually opened downtown. That's the most in 5 years. Kaleo, that the judge has spoken about already, relocated to the Teletech building, and they continue to grow and hire. And they are very much a growth business. The only thing I would say is we just need more. We need 5 more Kaleos. And so we're going to be doing everything that we can to help make that happen. And the judge has also mentioned Sprocket, which I am in the process of learning more about. I'm planning to go to Cape Girardeau. Most people, I know the judge and Sandra have been to Cape Girardeau to see Codify. I'm headed over there hopefully in the next 30 days. But I think that Sprocket offers a lot of promise for Paducah as we try to attract software engineers and new tech businesses to Paducah. And really, if that's successful, all we need is 1 or 2 to hit the jackpot, and that that will be a big benefit to Paducah. So where are we today? Our first commission meeting, my first commission meeting, the new commission's first commission meeting is next week. And we have a couple of big items on the docket. The last commission had suggested that we consider a relief option for our local businesses as it relates to alcohol licensing fees, renewal fees, and we're going to take that up in the new commission, the first commission meeting. And then we have the Wellness Center. We're going to discuss that and bring that to a vote. I'll just say this about the Wellness Center. It's been quite a topic in the community. for the last year. And my feelings on it have been well known. From a very positive standpoint, one of the things that I discovered when I began to take office is that that we do have YMCA. One of the things I heard the whole time that I was involved in discussions with about the Wellness Center was why not a Y? Why not a YMCA? Why not have we ever explored that? And I really didn't have the answer, but I discovered that the YMCA is interested in Paducah. So that's a very positive thing, I think, for the future. I think it's all about timing. And so that's something that we will be discussing in the future. We certainly, to take on any kind of project, we're going to have a lot of collaboration, a lot of buy-in, and a lot of partnership. So, and of course, I can't really go much more without saying that we're going to be in the process of searching for a new city manager. It's not the ideal thing to have happen in your first week, that your city manager tells you that he's not going to work beyond his contract. But as I told him, and I tell everybody, the city is larger than any of us, and it will go on without us. And that means not only the elected officials, but also those of us who work day to day with the city. So Jim Arndt has been a dedicated servant. When he finishes his term, he will have worked 3 years with the city. And I just want to say how much I appreciate, on behalf of the past commission and this commission, how much I appreciate his service to Paducah. He's offered to stay at least through the end of his contract and to help us with the search for a new city manager. So that's a real plus. So assuming, I just want to talk about assuming we don't move forward with the Wellness Center, which I said is going to come up for a vote on Tuesday night. What do we do? What can we do? And what are we going to do with $20 million of bond funds? That's a good problem to have. But the community has many needs, and I will be on a conference call next week with our bond attorney to make sure and determine exactly how those funds can be utilized, because I think that's very important. But the city has plenty of needs and plenty of infrastructure needs. And needs that must be prioritized. And the judge has already brought up the new sports complex, which is a great project for the county and really for our whole community. And the city wants to participate in that. And I know there's going to be an ask coming from the county to help put that project together. And so, that's one of the important needs, I think, that we have for our community. We have an airport terminal, which I've personally been involved in. The city and county own the airport. So there's going to be a local share that we're going to be equally responsible for. And that bill's going to come due, and we're going to have to decide exactly how to address that. I've been hearing from people, I need to investigate it more, but we have an aging 911 system here. And that's a project that we need to take up, I believe, with the county. That's a joint project, and the judge and I are going to have to, and the two commissions are going to have to work together and really figure out what to do, how to do it, and when to do it. But we need to do something about the 911 system and upgrade it. There was a city facility survey that came out last year. And we have a lot of aging facilities in the city. One of the things that's come up is I know one of the fire stations in particular is aged out and past its usefulness, and so we're going to need to address that and look at other city facilities. And I can't really go in farther without mentioning stormwater. Because stormwater is something that just it keeps coming up every time we have a heavy rain. Some of our citizens in Paducah are disadvantaged. There are parts of our city that are affected more than others, but stormwater is a need in this community, and Paducah is not unlike a lot of communities our size around the country who built their stormwater systems 75 or 100 plus years ago, and the systems are aging and need upgraded. So it's a big issue that must be addressed for the long term, and it's not something that's very pleasant to have to address, because the money that we invest in it is not really going to be noticeable every day. You're not going to be able to drive by some nice, big, shining new facility and say, you know, boy, it's great. We worked hard on that new building. But stormwater is a need. It's a need for our community, and it's a need that we have to address. And it's a long-term need. It's not a 1-year need or a 2-year need. It's a need that we have to make an investment in. And so we're going to have to get started on it. And it's one of my goals is to figure out what we're going to do about stormwater. And we're not going to figure it out this month, and we're not going to figure it out next month. But we are going to have to lay a plan. I've spent a lot of time. I've had 2 meetings with JSA to increase my knowledge about stormwater. I've had a meeting with Strand. Strand is the company that provided us with the study that made the suggestion on what our path forward should be. So we're going to be looking at that even more in the future, but it's very important to me that we get that addressed. So those are just some of the needs that we have in the community that we're going to be discussing and looking at, and we're going to be doing that at the commission retreat. The new commission has a retreat scheduled for the first weekend in February. We'll all be getting together, and we'll be talking about all of these issues and talking about priorities and deciding, how we move forward. We also have the TIF and City Block project that's kind of out there. I will tell you that I have information that our TIF is going to be approved, and it is going to be approved at a much higher level than what was originally thought. We still have work to do, and there's no documents that we can share yet. We still have to negotiate our final agreement with the state, but we will have a significant TIF to go with the City Block project. And I hope to meet with Wayland personally in the next couple of weeks and get an update on where the City Block project is. And I would just remind all of us about the City Block project. We have an outside developer, investor, who wants to spend $20 million in Paducah. And the $20 million itself is a good thing. But I think we should all focus on the fact that for that $20 million to be invested, there's got to be a return. And whatever that return is going to be good for Paducah. And it's going to be good for our businesses. And there are some people that, that have questioned the project, questioned the location of the hotel, questioned a lot of things. And I understand all of those things. But for any investor to invest $20 million in Paducah, Kentucky, there has to be a return, and that return is going to be good for our city. Just a few more goals. I don't know if I'm running out of town here. Okay. The judge took too much of my time this morning. So I have just a few more things. We're going to be taking a look at the city communication strategy. I talked a lot about transparency in my campaign. I'm going to look hard to see how we can drive more transparency. That's important to me. You know, I'm dedicated to, I mentioned my journey last year, but, you know, I campaigned during a lot of our unrest in the Paducah. We have a really good community here. We have a great community, but I am dedicated to participate in and help lead any discussions around more racial unity and anything along those areas. One of the things that I do that's going to be very, very challenging but very important is the boards and commission appointments. I've had a meeting this week to look at all the board appointments. The city appoints tons of people on multiple boards, and so that's something that I can't do it alone. I need help. I need help from the chamber and the business community, and I need people to serve on boards, and I need people with their ideas. And I just want to say that every single person out there really makes a difference. We have a strong city team. I'm really looking forward to working with the new commission. And I think we've got an amazing new commission. We're going to work together as a team to get a lot of things done for the city. And thank you for the opportunity. I'm very excited.
Thank you both, Mayor Bray and Judge Clymer, for being with us today. I do try to keep a script going. I try to keep you both equal time and on time. You guys make it hard. And last year, Judge, you told me you didn't even know what a PowerPoint was. So when you sent me that text yesterday, I thought it was a joke, just like you also frequently do. But thank you all for being here today. We look forward to working with you. You know, the Chamber's committed to the city and county and to making sure that this is a great place for us to all live and work and play. And so thank you for your service. Thank you to all of our virtual listeners today and people watching with us. We appreciate having you here today. The Paducah McCracken County Joint Sewer Agency, thank you so much for being here with us and for being our sponsor. I do just want to mention that we do have an upcoming event that's just being announced, and that is our February 11th Frankfurt trip, which we've renamed to our Frankfurt Forum. We'll be basing it out of Paducah that day on that Thursday, February 11th, much like we did our DC flyback. However, we just didn't like the name busback. So we're going to do a forum here based in here in the Commerce Center, but it will be a great opportunity for us to continue that dialogue with our state leaders. But meanwhile, we'll be back February 4th for our next Power and Partnership Breakfast. It's sponsored by the McCracken County chapter of the NAACP and the McCracken County Community Career Endowment. And we're planning to celebrate Black History Month. And so our featured speaker is a Paducah native who's done very well. He's Brent Leggs. He's the executive director of the African American Cultural Heritage Action Fund for the National Trust for Historic Preservation. And the sponsor for the speaker is West Kentucky Community and Technical College. And we're really appreciate the fact of all of these sponsors stepping up to make that event happen. We have a couple of door prizes. In order to be eligible for door prizes, you do have to register through Zoom. So Chad, Dr. Reese, somebody come up. You both come up. And draw three. Our prizes are from Selcouth, Notes Barbecue, and Forever Pampered. While you're here, I'm going to say thank you again, Chad. My pleasure. Welcome, Dr. Reese. Okay, so our three winners, and we'll mail you these gift certificates, are Mike McGregor with BFW Engineers. That reminds me, our Frankfurt trip is sponsored by BFW Engineers and Markham Engineering, so we appreciate them, and you'll hear more about that later. Our other winner is Bob Torak and Crystal Rothrock with the Paducah Housing Authority, and Bob Torak with FMB. I kind of think he won about 2 months ago. So congratulations to those. Thank you all for joining us. We'll see you again soon, and for sure on February 4th at our next breakfast. Have a great day.